What's up guys, my name's Mikey and this is my 2018 Honda XR650L. I've owned this bike for exactly 1 year today. It's its birthday and I wanted to talk about everything I've done in that year that I've owned it, the updates and the modifications. So let's start top to bottom and we'll look at everything we've done. Okay, starting top to bottom, I threw on a slipstreamer windscreen. Living here in Utah, it gets colder and this keeps a lot of the cold air and the bugs off my chest and face. I also threw on Attribes grip guards or bark busters. These keep my hands warm during the winter and also protect me during trail rides. We also did double take mirrors. These mirrors have been awesome. I've dumped this bike a few times and the mirrors, they flex with the bike. So if I hit a tree or if I drop it, the mirror's not gonna break or bend. It just flexes and I can push it right back. Moving down, I threw on a Tusk handlebar with a 2-inch riser. This gets it up out of my lap. So when I'm riding the bike, if I need to stand up, it's easy to maneuver on. I also threw on heated grips for the winter rides. Again, it keeps my hands really warm. A Tusk cigarette lighter, which is great for charging my accessories on the go with USB. I threw on a Trail Tech Striker odometer. This gave me a lot more readouts that I wasn't getting from the current odometer. I can track my hours ridden, my trail rides, and also it lets me gauge the temperature of the motor. This is an air-cooled motor, so that's something I really wanted to watch, and that really lets me keep an eye on it. Last but not least, in the cockpit, I threw on a quad lock phone mount. This phone holder is a great mount. It has a vibration dampener, so your phone's not vibrating too much. It keeps it smooth and stable, and it really holds your phone in place when you're riding. Moving down, we threw on an Attribes 5.8 gallon tank. This keeps me from having to stop and fill up as often, and I can go almost a full month riding this daily without having to fill up. So that was a huge upgrade. Moving back to the seat, I went with a seat concept seat. We upholstered this, threw it on with a new foam pad and also a seat heater. So again, anything I can do to stay warm during the winter, that's a great upgrade, and it's just a really comfortable saddle to be in all day. Coming back, I replaced the standard Honda tail bag with this Boundary Supply port kit. It was originally a toiletry bag, but it doubled really nicely as a motorcycle bag. It's the perfect size, it lets me throw in my daily essentials. I can keep my bike lock, or I throw a mini drone in there when I'm on my trail rides for great B-roll. I wanted to go with an all black and white color scheme on the bike, so with the fenders, I replaced the stock front and rear fender with a front Attribes fender and the rear Mayer fender. I think it makes it look a little more modern and just cleaned up the bike quite a bit. For those of you that have seen this bike stock, the rear blinkers and tail light were just huge and ugly, so I completely eliminated those. I threw on a rear 600R Honda brake light and Tusk LED lights, and for the most part, the entire bike is all LED, which really draws less on the battery. On the front, I threw on a LED headlight and rally lights, so for dark night rides, it really just lights up the trail and it throws out more light than I could have ever hoped for. On the back, I installed this Happy Trails rack system, which is great for pannier bags and also storing gas tanks up top or groceries, whatever I need to store here. It also protects the bike when it spills. It keeps me from scratching my plastics. Moving down, I removed the smog kit, which removed several pounds of unwanted weight, cleaned up the engine area. I threw on a Ricochet skid plate with a Happy Trails highway foot pegs. That's a great accessory for stretching out the legs on longer rides. I threw on IMS Rally foot pegs. They're beast pegs and they're just really comfortable to stand on throughout the day. I also threw on this FMF Q4 silencer exhaust slip-on. It made the bike way more throaty, it sounds better, and it gave me just a little more horsepower, it felt like. I also had the carbs rejetted to match that and also our altitude. So the bike just runs beautifully since I've done that. Moving down to the sprocket, I threw on a wider spindle sprocket so the crankshaft doesn't get worn out. That was a really cheap, easy fix to do. I also threw on a 15-tooth sprocket, which on the highway just gives us a little more go. Probably the cheapest, easiest accessory I've added to the bike. On the rubber, we threw on the brand new Dunlop 605 dual sport tires. These are great on and off the road, perfect for highway riding. And 4mm Tusk inner tubes. I didn't ever want to get a flat out in the woods, so those inner tubes are beasts, they're thick, and I don't think they'll ever go flat on me. What you can't see under the seat, I installed the Row PDM60. This is basically a little breaker box for your bike. Rather than blowing fuses, it trips a breaker. So if any of your electronics overloads the bike, the breaker will trip, and then you can simply turn the bike off and restart it, and it'll reset everything. So I never have to worry about blowing fuses when I'm out in the woods or without tools, and that keeps me riding on the road just a little longer. To support all these additional electronics I've installed, I installed an upgraded stator. The output's just a little more electricity, so the battery's always charged, and I can run all these accessories at once. Talking about the battery, I installed a newer lithium battery that cut out about 10 pounds of weight, and the battery, even though it's very light, it also has a built-in power bank, so the battery can jump start itself. Again, I just want to avoid being dead out in the desert or in the forest, so the battery will never die on me. That's a great piece of confidence. Also in the cockpit, I installed an XR's only oil gauge, which again is another way I can view the temperature of the bike to make sure it's never overheating. And last but not least, I installed some black spoke covers just to keep with the entire black and white theme. I've loved this bike. It's been a blast just to have the last year. We've taken on several camp trips, long highway drives. It's been an awesome bike. I've loved it. It's everything I wanted it to be. So to wrap all this up, I'm not sponsored by any of this. These are just modifications I thought were really cool. I saw others had done along the way, and things I wanted to do myself. Leave questions in the comments. I'll try to answer those and leave links to everything I bought. Like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.